The road was a ribbon of cracked asphalt cutting through miles of corn stubble and skeletal trees, the kind of rural American nowhere that only existed to connect two more important places. Dusk pressed down on it, violet and bruised, the sun already sinking behind distant silos. Evan Mercer drove with one hand on the wheel, the other gripping his phone, Bluetooth crackling softly through the speakers. "I'm telling you," he said, voice tight with professional certainty. "A bonus issue dilutes less in the short term, but the optics, optics, matter. A stock split looks friendlier to retail investors." A pause. Static. "No, I get that the client's worried about liquidity, but if we—" The line sputtered. A sharp pop of interference cut him off mid-sentence. "Hello?" Evan glanced down at the signal bars. One. Then none. The call dropped. He frowned, tapping the steering wheel. That was odd. Coverage out here was usually weak, but not dead. He lifted the phone again. No service stared back at him in pale letters. "Great," he muttered, tossing the phone onto the passenger seat. The road ahead narrowed as twilight deepened. His headlights swept across a bend, catching dust and drifting insects. He leaned forward slightly, squinting, when jolted through the car, a sickening, solid resistance that sent Evan's chest slamming into the seatbelt. Tires shrieked as his foot instinctively hit the brake. "What the hell, The car skidded to a stop. Heart hammering, Evan sat frozen, breath coming fast. The engine ticked angrily, heat rising from the hood. For a moment, all he could hear was his own pulse roaring in his ears. He swallowed, then forced himself to open the door. The air outside was cold and smelled of damp earth. His headlights illuminated the road ahead, and something lying in it. At first, his brain refused to categorize it. It was small, too small to be a deer, too upright in shape, even lying there. Hair covered its body in matted dark clumps, limbs bent at strange angles. As Evan stepped closer, the scale of it hit him. 5 feet tall, maybe a little more, human-shaped. "Oh my God," he whispered. The thing moved, a twitch. Then a low, wet sound escaped its throat, a gurgle that tightened into something like a breath. Evan screamed. He stumbled backward, nearly tripping over his own feet, and scrambled into the driver's seat. The door slammed shut just as the creature rolled slightly, one long arm dragging against the asphalt. "No, no, no!" He threw the car into reverse, tires spinning, then swung wide around the shape in the road and floored it. The engine howled as the speedometer climbed. The road blurred, trees rushing past like blackened spears. His hands shook so badly he could barely keep the wheel straight. Then the world ended. A sharp curve, gravel, loss of traction. The car left the road, swung sideways, and Evan's vision exploded into white. Pain dragged him back. His head throbbed, blood warm against his temple. Darkness pressed in from every side, broken only by the dim glow of his dashboard. Still on somehow. Night had fully fallen. Evan groaned and forced the door open. The car was wrecked, hood crumpled, one wheel bent at an impossible angle. It wasn't going anywhere. He grabbed his phone. No service, of course. Swallowing panic, Evan started walking along the road, flashlight app casting a weak cone of light ahead. The silence was wrong. No insects, no distant engines, just wind through leaves. Then he heard it. A sound from the trees, heavy, rhythmic. Footsteps. Evan killed the light and dove into the woods, crouching behind a thick oak. His breath came shallow as the sounds grew closer, branches snapping under immense weight. Shapes emerged from the darkness, 2 of them. They were huge, over 8 feet tall, bodies hulking and broad, their silhouettes barely human. Long arms swung as they walked, thick fingers curled inward. Between them they carried something limp, the smaller one. The one he'd hit. Its head lolled back, hair soaked dark around the skull. A faint whimper escaped it. Evan clamped a hand over his mouth. The larger figures reached the road. One bent low, sniffing the air, then turned its head toward Evan's wrecked car. They approached it slowly, circling, touching the metal, inhaling deeply. Then one stopped. Its head snapped toward the woods, toward him. It inhaled again, deep and deliberate. Evan's stomach dropped. The creature let out a low growl, not loud, but filled with unmistakable intent. He had to move. Slowly, inch by inch, Evan shifted his weight, trying to stay wrapped in shadow. Then his phone rang. The sound was deafening in the stillness. The creature roared. Evan ran. Branches tore at his clothes as he sprinted blindly through the trees, lungs burning. Heavy footsteps thundered behind him, impossibly fast. A hand, massive, closed around his shoulder. He was yanked backward and thrown like a doll. The ground slammed into him, knocking the air from his lungs. He rolled onto his back, staring up at a towering silhouette. "Please," he sobbed. "It was an accident. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." The creature loomed closer, breath hot and foul, teeth glinting faintly. The gunshot shattered the night. The creature roared in rage and vanished into the trees, crashing away at terrifying speed. Evan lay shaking, sobbing, unable to move. Footsteps approached, human this time. A man stepped into view, rifle raised, eyes wide beneath a camo cap. "Jesus," the hunter said. "You okay? I heard something big out here. Thought it might be a bear, but I didn't get a good look. What was after you?" Evan stared past him, into the darkness where the woods still swayed. I don't know," he whispered. From deep in the forest something answered, a distant, echoing call. Not one voice, several. The hunter didn't argue when Evan's legs finally gave out. "Come on," he said, voice low but steady. "My rig's not far. We're not driving anywhere tonight." They reached it after a tense walk through the trees, a mud-splattered 4x4 SUV tucked beneath the canopy, an overland tent folded open on its roof like a hard shell waiting to swallow them. The hunter climbed the ladder first, then helped Evan up, sealing the tent shut behind them. Inside, it smelled of canvas, oil, and cold metal. The hunter set the rifle down carefully and passed Evan a bottle of water. "Name's Cole," he said. "You're safe for now. Whatever that was, it's not coming near a human camp." Evan laughed weakly, the sound brittle and wrong. "A bear," Cole added, nodding to himself. "That'll scare the hell out of anyone who's not used to the woods." Evan didn't correct him. He couldn't. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. Eventually, exhaustion won. The woods outside stayed quiet, and against his will, Evan drifted into a shallow, uneasy sleep. Bang. Bang. The sound snapped Evan awake. Something slammed against the SUV, metal ringing, the whole vehicle rocking beneath them. Evan shot upright, heart racing. "Cole, I hear it," the hunter whispered. Another impact, then another, slow, curious. Cole peered through a small mesh window. Probably a deer rubbing against the bumper. "No," Evan hissed, grabbing his arm. "You don't understand." Cole turned to him. "Listen, man. You're in shock. You saw a bear in low light. Your brain—" "It wasn't a bear," Evan said, voice cracking. "It was Bigfoot." Silence. Cole stared at him, then let out a short breath. "Okay, yeah, trauma talking." The banging stopped. Cole sighed. "I'm gonna check it out. Stay put." He climbed down the ladder, boots hitting dirt softly. Evan crawled to the edge of the tent, watching through the mesh as Cole circled the SUV, rifle raised, flashlight sweeping the ground. Cole looked up and gave a cautious thumbs up. His mouth formed the words, "All clear." Evan watched from the narrow opening in the rooftop tent as the older man circled the SUV, rifle low, flashlight beam slicing through the trees. The forest felt closer now, the darkness thicker, as if it were listening. Then something hit him. It came from the side, fast, compact, brutal. Not one of the towering giants Evan had seen earlier, but smaller, younger, still impossibly strong. The subadult slammed into Cole's torso and dragged him off his feet like dead weight. "Hey, hey!" Cole shouted, boots scraping uselessly against the dirt. The flashlight spun away, tumbling into the leaves. The rifle fired once into the ground, then vanished into the dark. Evan froze. The creature hauled Cole backward, step by step toward the tree line. Cole clawed at the earth, fingers digging trenches into the soil as he was pulled past the last spill of tail light glow. "Help me!" Cole yelled. "Evan!" Evan's hands shook so badly he had to grip the tent frame to keep from making a sound. Behind the subadult, the forest shifted. Tall silhouettes stood just beyond the trees, motionless, patient. 1, 2, 3, more. Their outlines barely separated from the trunks behind them, but Evan could feel their presence the way you feel pressure before a storm. They were watching, not rushing, not panicking, waiting. Cole's voice broke into choking pleas as he was dragged fully behind the trees. The sound didn't fade, it stopped, cut off too abruptly like a door slammed shut. Evan couldn't breathe. He reached for the tent flap, hesitated, one last look at the tree line, and saw the largest silhouette lean forward slightly, as if curious, as if deciding. Evan pulled the tent closed. The zipper sounded impossibly loud in his ears. He forced himself to slow it, inch by inch, teeth clenched, tears spilling freely down his face. He pressed his forehead against the canvas, blood smearing into the fabric, and stayed silent. He didn't move again that night. The woods never went quiet. Branches snapped. Heavy footsteps circled the SUV. Once, just once, something brushed against the side of the tent, testing it with slow, deliberate pressure. Evan didn't react. He survived by doing nothing. Dawn came gray and cold. The forest looked ordinary again. Birds calling, mist hanging low between the trees. The tent was intact. The SUV untouched. Cole was gone. Evan climbed down slowly, legs trembling, every sense screaming for movement that never came. There was no blood trail, no rifle, no sign of struggle beyond disturbed leaves near the tree line. The forest had taken him cleanly. Evan got into the driver's seat, hands numb on the wheel, and started the engine. As he drove away, sunlight filtered through the trees, revealing nothing out of place. No monsters, no proof, no answers. Just a road leading back to the world, and a silence he would never escape.